I think confidence is also hugely misunderstood. When we talk about people being confident, what we actually mean is social confidence. Good handshake, eye contact, able to tell a joke or a story, maybe stand on a stage and give a presentation. All of that social confidence. But I'd like you to take that socially confident person and ask them to pilot a plane, or to be in charge of surgery, or to be in a complex sales situation with a tricky client selling a product or service they don't quite understand. They would not be confident in those situations. When we start to learn to drive, as I found out painfully recently as my eldest turned 17, hugely confident until he drives for the first time, then quickly finds out he's incompetent, and thank goodness for that, because a confident, incompetent person is dangerous, especially when you're sitting in a car next to them. Confidence socially is a wonderful thing to have. It's a gift, and I don't want you to take that away from your team, but it's not the foundation of confidence. The foundation of confidence is really the sum of the two parts I've already spoken to you about today. Confidence comes from doing a job that you believe in. Confidence comes from offering a product and service that helps people, where you're able to take time to listen to them and to match their needs. And that builds a confidence in doing it. If you've ever sold something you don't believe in, you'll know the difference. You can parrot out the lines. You might even hit your quota, but you won't sustain it because you can't be happy doing it. So we're more likely to be confident when we sell something that we believe in and something that offers value. And secondly, as I touched on there, you might be socially confident, but try and fly a plane and you would not be confident. Why? Because you are dangerous and incompetent. So before we ask people to be confident, let's teach them to be competent. How do we do that? Have a simple sales structure. You clearly don't have to copy mine. You can have your own. But I promise you there are 4 steps, whatever you call them, in sales conversations. Give them a structure and give them a chance to learn step by step how to do that structure. That's what gives people confidence. And there's 2 extra bits around confidence. Salespeople don't practice. I've never really understood this. I don't know of any other field of human endeavor where people get to the top on just being quite good at it. Roger Federer was naturally good. Really? Well, he might have been, but he had a coach, several coaches, all his life in tennis. We don't practice. Please, whatever you do, encourage your teams to practice. The trouble sometimes is that when you believe that every conversation is different, you believe that you can't prepare for it and you can't practice. But that's just nonsense. Even the things you can't prepare for and can't practice. I don't imagine, and I thankfully have never been in a war, but I don't imagine in a war you know what the opposition are going to do. But I also don't imagine you turn up and say, right lads, just give it a go and see what happens. There's a plan. Plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. And you can do the same in sales. Just because you can't plan for everything doesn't mean you plan for nothing. I'm reminded of a sales team I worked with a few years ago in the investment sector, and we'd done some training in the morning around the way they introduced themselves and the initial questions that they asked. And I suggested that we did a little warm-up to put these ideas into practice. And instead of doing that in the training room, I thought, let's do it out on the phones. And so we had 10 people, 5 selling, 5 being the buyer, and we had a little warm-up. And my idea had been to do the warm-up, do a bit of feedback, and then start making some calls for an hour or so. But the warm-up went so well. There was such great energy in the room. People were having fun with it. They were messing up, yes, but they were trying out new ideas. That I said, let's not do a feedback session. Let's jump straight on the phones and give it a go. And they did an hour and a quarter on the phones. And then at the end of that session, I talked to them about the session, and I talked to them about the practice that we did. And tell me a bit more about that practice session. And they said, oh, felt like idiots at the beginning. It's a bit awkward, selling to your mate. And it's not real, it's not natural. But funnily enough, when I started making the calls, it felt a bit better. I felt like my mouth had warmed up and I got used to the ideas. And I felt like I was more successful on the phone because I'd warmed up first. So my next question, as you probably guessed, was, why don't you do that every morning before making calls? And they replied, oh no, feel a bit silly doing that. And so I posed them a question, is the point of the 8 hours a day you spend here in the office, it was, yes, in those days when we're all in the office. In those OT hours, is your priority to avoid feeling a bit silly? Or is your priority to be the best version of yourself to enable you to help more clients invest their money, help the company grow, increase your revenue, and improve your quality of life? And they replied, but it does feel a bit silly. It's ludicrous. So that's one other element of building confidence, is to practice. Second element, I think that we spend too long in sales leadership, in trying to tell our people to be better. And through trying to tell them to be better, what they too often hear from us is negative affirmations of what they do badly, instead of positive affirmations of what they do well. I don't think our job in sales, particularly in times that we have now, is to keep our salespeople's feet on the floor. I think our job as sales leaders is to take our salespeople's feet off the floor, to elevate them, to celebrate them, to let them know that they do the most important job in the business, which, by the way, they do, because nobody else has got a bloody job unless we do that. So please, elevate your sales team, praise your sales team, and you're more likely to see success.